You've all, no doubt, seen this headline and aware of this. And this was one of the things that got me quite intrigued with this case because I wasn't really paying any attention to it until about a month ago. Um, but there were some things with um, Brett Payne, amongst other things, that had made my ears prick up. They prick up a lot. Um, One of them was that the lead investigator is a US Army vet with just 2 years experience in the police force or in law enforcement. And I thought that's a bit odd. Um, and he is a corporal, and I'm not very familiar with that position because that sounds a bit military to me. So I was like, what? Corporal? That's a position in the police force. I don't think we have it over here, so I'm not familiar with it. But it's below a sergeant, and there were sergeants in. I am going somewhere with this, by the way. There are sergeants that obviously in Moscow police force, and um, seems a bit curious that a corporal would be the one to be investigating, especially if they only had 2 years' experience. And, it's a quadruple homicide. Four people. This is, a big case. Why Brett Payne? And why Brett Payne when he was seemingly quite a long way away? Because he didn't get there until 4:30, was it? So he didn't arrive at the scene till 4:30. The police were notified just after noon, so just after midday. And so I was intrigued, but I just wanted to update you on Brett Payne and his career because I came across some information. So in the PCA, as you know, um, it states that um, Brett Payne is employed by Moscow Police Department in the official capacity or position of corporal and has been a trained and qualified police officer for approximately 4 years. Corporal Payne is being assisted by members of the Idaho State Police and agents of the FBI. Okay, so it does appear that he is leading, but he's being assisted by others. Um, and it contradicts what the Daily Mail stated, and I think other newspapers and media outlets may have stated that he had a couple of years' experience. So that interested me as well. I was like, well, what is it? Does he have two? Does he have four? Does he have three? What is it? And then I came across this yesterday or the day before, um, 2021 annual report, and I can't even remember why I was looking at it. I wasn't looking for this, but I found it. And there's a section, well, they give information about different officers. So, and here's some information about Brett Payne. Officer Brett Payne was promoted to corporal and assigned to the patrol division as an assistant patrol team supervisor. Corporal Payne started with the Moscow Police Department in 2018. Doesn't say started with the police then. After spending 8 years in the United States Army as a military police officer. I was wondering this the other day. I was thinking that he was in the military police. And yeah, he was. Because otherwise, it's crazy. So, corporal, but why don't we know about this? Why hasn't this been said? You know, they'll throw out any information they can at us, and why haven't, you know, that was being bandied around that he didn't have much experience. Why didn't they say, well, actually, he's been in the military police. He was in the military police for 8 years. Why weren't they telling us that? Because they're not shy about leaking information, and seems curious to me that that information wasn't shared. Corporal pay, and they've got no duty to share anything, but it's just that they haven't been shy about sharing anything, and it goes to their to his credibility. So it seems not in keeping with the way that they've sort of dealt with everything. Like, seems strange not to have provided that information to refute the suggestion that he was inexperienced. However, military police and the police, you know, it's quite a covert, and maybe this is the reason why it's quite covert. You know, people don't know much about what goes on with the military police, whereas, you know, there is a lot more openness with general law enforcement. Corporal Payne is a field training officer and unmanned aerial system drone program coordinator. Corporal Payne holds an Idaho Post Intermediate Peace Officer certification. So this was 2021. So we can see why they said he'd been in he'd been a peace officer for 4 years, because it was 2018 that he joined the military police. Not military, sorry, Moscow Police Department. I had heard, I think it was through Truth and Transparency, that he was a police officer in Utah before, and I wonder if he was, but it was actually the military police. So, yeah, that's interesting. Um, so I thought I'd share that. And that's all for now.